Hi and welcome. My name is Dawn Hudgens. I'm the Vice President of Service Delivery for ILTA. And thank you for joining Tea with Me, our Trailblazer series. And I have with me today three remarkable women. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you and we'll get started. Ladies?
Hi, my name is Barbara Gondim da Rocha, as my son likes to pronounce. I'm a lawyer from Brazil. I'm a mother of two little boys, a 9-year-old, Levi, and a 5, almost 6 years old, Gabriel. And I'm married to Lauro for 16 years now. I've been working at the same firm for the past 15 years. So I have long-time relationships with the firm and my life partner. And now I'm starting my relationship for the past 2 years with ILTA, and I plan to make it a long-lasting relationship as well. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Michele?
Great, thanks. Hi, I'm Michele Gossmeyer. I am the Global Director of Information Governance, Risk, and Compliance at Dentons. I've been with the firm a little over 8 years now, and prior to that was at another large global law firm for about 25 years. So been in legal far longer than I like to count. I stopped adding the numbers a while ago. I have been an ILTA volunteer, gosh, I guess since 2006, and have served in lots of roles for ILTA, and every one of them more exciting than the next, trying to find new ways to connect. And I always say for every second that I have given to ILTA, I have gotten tenfold in return over and over again, and get to meet amazing people like Barbara and Joy and Dawn and all of you. So an amazing experience.
Great, thanks. Joy?
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be in the company of this amazing group of women. I'm Joy Heath Rush. I'm the CEO of ILTA. I've been in the legal technology space since, to clear my throat before I say it, because it's so long ago, 1982. And you might not have thought there was such a thing as legal tech, and there wasn't. And I don't think Barbara was born, but don't tell me that, because I don't so many years ago. I spent 28 years with the global law firm of Sidley Austin. After that, in a bunch of different IT and technology roles, leadership roles. And then I spent 5 years at a large global software provider before I joined ILTA as the CEO. And believe it or not, that'll be 2 years next month, which went by really, really fast. I started volunteering for ILTA, and I attended my first ILTA event in 1996. I started volunteering in 1997, and like Michele, I've held a lot of different roles, and took so much away from each and every one of them. I just can't imagine how I even would have been able to do my job effectively, all my various jobs without ILTA. So I'm really glad to be here. Thank you.
Wonderful. So on September 18th, there was some news that broke about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and her loss of the battle with pancreatic cancer. And throughout the media and definitely throughout the association, I have heard so many people talk about the impact that she had on their lives and their career. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about her legacy and being a trailblazer, what she left behind, and maybe how her life might have affected you, maybe her decisions or her tenacity, how they affected you, maybe changed you or molded you, perhaps. Michele, you want to kick us off?
Sure, happy to. I think two things stand out for me amongst so many for her and her legacy. The first one was a story that I had heard a while ago regarding how she had graduated first in her law school as an early mother, and at the time did not have any offers from any of the big New York firms where she was based, which was incredibly interesting and unusual and unique, I guess, in some ways. But she cited that as a couple of different reasons. One was the fact that she was Jewish, one was the fact that she was a woman, and one was the fact that she was an early mom. And the interesting part for me about that, I think later on she was having some conversations with someone else in a similar situation, that if that were not the case, she may not have found herself in on the Supreme Court. So finding ways to, you can use any terminology you want, make lemons out of lemonade, find the best way to make a difficult situation, but to think about that experience experience and the fact that something so difficult probably at the time set her up for one of the most unbelievable positions, that you can have in our country. So finding the positives in some of those difficult situations. I think the other piece that stands out for me with her is one that I struggle with, and I wonder in the same situation I could see myself potentially doing and potentially not. When she was going through cancer, she had said that she had never missed a day of work through all of her treatments. And I think she had gotten advice that to get her chemotherapy on a Friday so that she could have the weekend to recover. And hearing that and being around many people that have dealt with cancer in many different ways, I understand the focus about, staying focused, being at work and doing something that you can stay committed to and be committed to, as I think we all are with our jobs. But the flip side of that, thinking about never taking a day off and going through such a difficult situation. So that's one that I think about often and struggle with, and certainly commend her for her focus on that, and gives us a lot of really interesting things to think about. So those are two that stood out for me.
No, thank you. Joy, what about you?
Well, Michele said a lot of it, but I think one of the things that I want to build off what Michele said was the work ethic. It's not enough to be smart. You have to work hard too. And you have to be committed, you have to be goal focused, and you have to learn what you can from adversity. But I think that work ethic really, really resonates with me. Because what I have found through my career is, and I think all of us as women in the workplace, and we're of varying ages. I mean, I'm the oldest of this group, I think probably by a good little bit. I think it's gotten better with each succeeding generation, but each one of us, I guarantee, has run into something that we've had to deal with based on our gender. And then to have had this woman, we think about something that right now seems big to us, but we didn't have to deal with the fact that you can't get a job because you're a woman, right? Or you can't get a job because you're a mother. But she accomplished so much of that just through tenacity and hard work. That really, really resonates with me. She was brilliant, yes, but she's tenacious and she had a great work ethic.
Yeah. Barbara.
Yeah, I was thinking and echo to what Michele and Joy said. She was amazing and very inspiring. But one thing that came to my attention, she was a tiny woman and I'm tiny as well. So things how powerful you can be, no matter how big or how old or how whatever you are. So you don't think about yourself as your body, or it's bigger than that. It's what's inside. And another thing that came to my attention, that's the partnership that you have with her husband, because imagine if she had a difficult relationship, if she hadn't had help at home, like someone to share with, a life partner like she had, especially for being a woman, it would be unimaginable. So she said that during the years I watched her movie and the documentary, but it made me feel grateful for having a husband that made me go to law school. We studied together in law school. We started together. He helps with the kids and let me go and live my wildest dream. Like, let me go to Amsterdam by myself, where I met Joy. And he said, go have fun, go reach your dreams. So it made me think about it and feel grateful for that. So I thank her for showing that the sky's the limit and we can do whatever we can if we have the tenacity and the audacity, and we have someone by our side to boost us up.
Oh, excellent. You spoke a little bit on what you have inside of you. So when you think about the key attributes that one has to pull from inside to challenge the norm, to excel, to be a trailblazer, what are those for you guys? Joy, you want to kick us off with that?
Yeah, it's in the realm of people that have inspired us. Some of them are fictional characters, and I've always really been drawn to fictional characters who persevere. And so I love the Lord of the Rings story. This little hobbit. Barbara, you were talking about being small. He's so much smaller than everybody else, but he has such a big heart. And he's talking about the legends that inspired him. So I'm talking about Frodo Baggins from Lord of the Rings. He said he came to learn that those people who did those amazing things in those legends, it's not that they weren't afraid. It's just that they went on anyway. And so I think that's part of it. You know, Barbara used the word audacity, which I think is a great word. I think that to be a trailblazer, you have to trust your gut and trust your own decisions, and then pursue what you need to pursue and go forward. That doesn't mean that, you know, you don't revisit and rework and retrench and all of those things, but you have to start with a great idea or a great decision and the desire, the tenacity to carry it forward, even when maybe it's not popular. And that's really critical, I think.
Wow. Yeah. Michele, what about you?
Yeah, I think for me, it's you know, it ties very closely into Justice Ginsburg, that finding ways to excel during roadblocks or challenging situations. Watching her overcome, you know, the things that she did, incredibly inspiring. And then I think about kind of the current times that we're in right now, right in the middle of COVID. Very easy to find negative all the time, right? You can get lost and go down that rabbit hole very easily, whether you're watching the media, spending time with people that aren't as positive, which can be challenging, and give you opportunities to help as well. But to watch those stories of people that are finding the most unique and creative ways to come out of this in incredibly inspiring, whether it's watching young children find creative ways to have, you know, a lemonade stand to raise money, or kids that are building food pantries in very, very difficult areas. Just watching people build out of those scenarios and be inspired by that. I think that, you know, for me is overcoming adversity in such difficult times is really, I think, where we find some of our greatest strengths.
Yeah, I agree. Barbara?
Yeah, I believe that the curiosity can open many roads, and having a purpose, because you have to believe in something to go further and to go to uncharted waters and to be a trailblazer, a true trailblazer. So I believe in that you have to be curious and want to see what's on the other side or over the rainbow or somewhere. And because you have to believe there's something there to go. You don't go in a way that you don't find a purpose, that you don't believe you're gonna find something. So you have to have that inner strength. There's something inside of you that's guiding you to find something elsewhere. Because to go on places that people have already been gone in the past, it's easy because it's paved already. So I believe in that.
So many of us have many inspiring people in our lives, throughout our life. So tell me a little bit about the legacy livers in your lives, and maybe who they are and why and how they inspired you. Barbara, you want to share that with us?
Maybe first, I'm in the room of the person that inspires me most. I asked her permission to film it here in this environment just because I wanted to show it. It's my boss. She's the partner of my firm. I worked with her for the past 15 years. And she was my professor in law school. And she is a true trailblazer herself, because she created a law firm from scratch in a time, imagine 18 years ago, in a region, in a poor region of a country. So, in order to do that, she had to believe and she would pass it along. So being able to work close to her, because it's something when you have someone like an author or an actor that inspires you, but it's unreachable for you to talk and to connect. And when you have someone that is close to you, and the closer you get, the more inspired you get, it's a really inspirational person. So this is why I chose a person that is very close, and that where I can be around and where I can breathe for the same air, and it's amazing.
You can share with her that I really like the artwork behind you there.
Yeah,
I love that. It's
yeah,
beautiful.
this is the spot that I wanted to get filmed.
Yeah.
She's the one, is the most inspirational room in the entire building. It's, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Michele, how about you?
Sure. For me, similar to Barbara, it's somebody that I've been able to be accessible to or with over the years. A partner at my previous law firm started a not-for-profit organization to help educate children. Started with kind of frustrations within his own situation with his children, where he was concerned about the education they were getting, and built a not-for-profit organization called Innovations for Learning. And they are now across the country in many, many classrooms, building educational opportunities to help kind of supplement what's happening in the classroom. And every time we meet at least once a year, just to kind of get an update. I did some volunteer work for the organization years ago, and every year I meet with him just to kind of hear, and I think, gosh, what could he possibly do next? Like, I feel like he's reached, all the different goals that he has. And every time I meet with him, he's got 10 more things that are going, amazingly growing the company and getting bigger and bigger. And it's incredible to be inspired by somebody that's always finding new opportunities, growing internationally, and just finding new avenues to do things in a new creative way. So for me, it's somebody that kind of starts with maybe a personal goal, but grows it into something that affects so many people and so many young minds around the world. So pretty inspiring for me.
That's great. Joy, how about for you?
Well, I'm going to have kind of an old-fashioned answer and talk about my mother and my grandmother. My grandmother, Calhoun, was born in 1906. Her father my great-grandfather was a tinker. And they traveled around Oklahoma and Texas and Arkansas in a covered wagon. And he was also a farrier, so they would go from town to town, and he would shoe all the horses and fix all the pots and pans, and then they would go on to the next town and the next town, and that's how she grew up. And she wrote an amazing memoir about that. Her schooling was very inconsistent. She got married very young. She gave birth to 10 children over 30 years, the first when she was 18, the last when she was 48. She never studied music, but she got a piano and she taught herself to play. And she had copyrights on hundreds of religious songs when she died, that she would record them and then have someone take down the musical notation, and she wrote all the lyrics. And she just did everything. I mean, when she was 93 years old, her son came one day looking for her and couldn't find her, and she was down in the well because the well pump, something had happened to it. And so she had gone down in the well to fix the well pump. She did everything. And she was a person of tremendous patience. So that if you can learn anything, you can do anything, you can accomplish anything. And my mom was very much the same. I mean, my mother always worked. I don't remember a time that my mother didn't work. And I grew up in the 1960s when moms didn't work. Moms stayed home, and moms brought cupcakes into the classroom, and they did stuff like that. But my mom always worked, plus did all that other stuff, of course, too. But I just admired her energy and everything that all the different hats that she wore so graciously. I've always been a great believer in emulating people you admire, and I'd always tried to emulate them.
Thank you. I consider each of you to be a trailblazer, and we could talk about the different things that you have done and accomplished in your lives, and the motivation and the mentors that you are. So let's talk about that for a moment, about mentorship. Do you have a personal philosophy or a personal quote or mantra that you live by? Michele?
I think for me, it's probably treat everyone with respect as much as you can all the time. Things change in life all the time. You never know who's going to be in what position, where, or when. And it's always important to realize that everybody that crosses your world in one way or another is either there for a reason, and there's something to learn from. So whether it's somebody that you connect well with and agree with, or somebody that maybe is on complete opposite ends of the spectrum of your views, your goals, but there's always ways to find something positive and inspirational from those people, and to build your strengths from that. So being, I think, just respectful and collaborative as often as you can is what's been helpful for me.
Great, thank you. Barbara, how about you?
Yeah, let's see. I don't have I think I'm still going to create my inspirational phrase, but there's one that I got on my mug that says, "Stay afraid, but do it anyway." Because for me, living in the northeast of Brazil, it's hard to have many opportunities coming my way. So I don't have to wait to be prepared to do something, expect for the perfect moment. So do it, even though you know, just believe that you can do it, but go and believe that everything is going to be okay. And something like this, like, believe it, do it, even if you're nervous, even if you're afraid, but do it in spite of that.
Do it anyway. I like it.
Yeah.
Joy?
Well, Michele and I are so aligned on so many things, and one of my favorite phrases is that there's a certain level of respect that everyone deserves just for being another human being walking on the earth. And whether they behave well, behave badly, whatever they've been through, you have to give them that. But I think the one that I try most to live by is the phrase I use is everybody has a story. And there's a lot of meanings to that. First of all, it means that I should be unfailingly kind, because I don't know what that person has been through that day. You know, I don't know if they dropped a jug of milk on their foot, or their car was rear-ended, or their child is sick, or they've had, you know, you don't know. So you can't always judge. So assume the best because they have a story. And also listen to those stories, because I guarantee every person's story is something you can learn from. Sometimes you say, boy, I don't want to ever do that. Or, wow, I hope I could, you know, achieve that. So remembering that everybody has a story, that to me covers a lot of situations that you encounter in life.
Yeah, it sure does. And interestingly enough, you share that one with my mother. That's my mother's favorite one as well. So each of you are very heavily involved in ILTA, some more than others, Joy, with thought leadership, with Women Who Lead. And from a trailblazing perspective and a living legacy perspective, what have you gained from your involvement, and what have you learned and implemented in your life from being a part of ILTA? Joy?
Yeah, boy, I mean, I could give you the really flip answer and say that's how I pay my mortgage and put groceries on the table, which is true today. But the thing is, I never could have aspired to a CEO role at any organization without the experiences I had with ILTA. I mean, it's a great place to learn business skills, advanced business skills in a safe environment, where, you know, not necessarily people's livelihoods are on the line or companies are on the line. You can learn really important project management skills, team coordination skills, having difficult conversations in a way that is very safe. And you can then bring that back to your personal life, that most importantly, I think, to your professional life. And so volunteering, I think what Michele said, every second she got 10,000-fold back. Amen, amen, amen. You know, and plus the relationships. I mean, lifelong friendships, people I've known for more than 20 years. I always joke that literally I could go to any major city almost on the planet and have someone I could spend the night at their place. And I mean, how fantastic is that? It's amazing.
Very good. Michele?
Yeah, for me, it definitely is choice. Said a lot of synergies between our experiences and our feelings. I think that for me, it's absolutely the relationships and the access to some of the most amazing people. Sometimes those just happen because groups get together and you end up meeting somebody that you might not have otherwise. But I think the other thing that we do quite a bit of with Women Who Lead is try to connect the dots and connect people in different ways and find those opportunities to continue to build amazing relationships with amazing people. We've got a couple of groups that we're in discussions with right now and doing some collaborative programming with and educational opportunities. So Women Who Lead has been a really safe place, as Joy said, safe to learn within the ILTA, and also to just find ways, you know, if something doesn't seem to fit or doesn't work right, we find a way to make it work. You know, if there's some structure or reason why these groups two normally wouldn't get together, let's find a way to make it work. Let's figure out if it's a program that we can put together or something that we can do. But the access to the people, I mean, just spending time every single, and I think Joy can speak to this, and Barbara, we've had some of these conversations as well in the ILTA world. Every single call we have or meeting we have, we come off of it so excited and inspired to continue to do more. You know, so I always look forward to those calls and just how your brain, you know, multiplies and fast forwards and thinks of 10 other things that we can do that are exciting. So for us, I think our biggest challenge is there's not enough hours in a day to do all the things that we want to do. But we do, we feed off of each other's excitement, and, you know, we hang up from calls with people and they all say, gosh, you're so inspiring and you're all so excited. Like it just happens that way. So it's just a really amazing place to be. So a great place to volunteer, to build, as Joy said, friendship, relationships, opportunities.
Barbara?
Last year was my first year as an ILTA member and my first ILTACon. And I went there expecting to learn stuff from people that knew better. And I went to the Women Who Lead roundtable, and everyone cried and shared so many inspiring stories. And the moment I had a friend from my firm as well, and he said, oh my God, what's happening? Is this real? Is people sharing so many detailed information about their lives, about their stories, about how they went through so many things? And at that moment I decided I wanted to volunteer, but I didn't know it would be even possible, since I live in Brazil and most people were from the United States and Europe. And when I had the first email asking to volunteer or opening roles for volunteers, I applied, and Jean Martinez sent me an email saying, yes, you can apply. Being in Brazil wouldn't be a problem, and we do most things virtually. And I got connected to the virtual world with Zoom and calls. They were just out of my reality. I didn't have this here. We were very working in the firm or traveling to meet people. So I learned so much. And during the conference and everything that I attended, and I talked this to the managing partner, to my friends here at the firm, it's like my first year as an ILTA member were kind of preparing me for this pandemic, you know, because I learned so many things that made possible do amazing stuff here at the firm, and connect to people that now we're having this conversation because we met in the first place somewhere in the past. And that, having this access to very inspiring people and very amazing professionals all over the world, it's something that you can't buy. It's something, you know, it's I didn't even believe that an organization as ILTA existed, and I feel really grateful for I told you, three of you in very many moments in the past, in roundtables and in meetings, in virtual meetings that we have. But I say it like on a daily basis, because it is, imagine, for many people take for granted having the opportunities and the things that you have. And it's very natural for me, like being kind of an outsider and the first timer and from a very different reality. It's a lot of possibilities that opens to myself, and I can't wait for what's next and for the amazing things that are going to come in the future.
Wow. So
I think Barbara just inspired me for a new phrase. Ilta, there are no outsiders.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
And I think that's kind of
That's a
timely
great
too.
one.
Yeah. It's timely too because
I
the
think
last
Jillian
question.
would like that one, Michelle.
Oh, was that Joy?
I think Jillian would like that one.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. So Michelle, you let us off with bringing it down to one key phrase. And that's fantastic. I'm going to ask Joy and Barbara the same. I didn't ask Michelle the question. It just naturally came out, but
I kind of stole Barbara's in a sort of a
Yeah.
way.
No, I don't have anything else to say. Can I just echo that? But
absolutely. So Joy, what would be one word or one key phrase that you would like to leave people with regarding being a trailblazer or leaving a legacy?
Be smart and be kind. That'll inspire a lot of people. If you can do those two things together, you'll inspire a lot of people.
Thank you. Ladies, thank you very much for joining me. This has been, it's been very inspirational for me, and I look forward to seeing and speaking with you all again, and also look forward to recording some of the other legacy stories that we have coming up. I did a prep earlier today, and I'm really excited about that, and so be out on the lookout for those. But thank you very much, and I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity, and great to see you all.
You too.
Oh, yes. Thanks, everyone. Dawn did a great job. And to be on the phone again with three of my favorite people in the world, that's a pretty good way to spend part of an afternoon, I have to tell you.
Yep.
Absolutely.
thank you so much. And thank you for considering me like, you're Brazilian, one of the people here in
You're
Brazil.
part of the
Thank you.
family, Barbara. You're part of the family.
You're doing
There
that.
are no
How
outsiders.
amazing.
There
Yeah.
are no
I'll take
outsiders.
that. I'll take that. I'll take that.
That's our new tagline.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.